Hello everyone, today I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my ETCO deck. I don't know why they delayed the North American release of Eternity Code for like a month, but I finally got the updates for the deck, and so let's just get started. So first off, obviously with the card on the front, I play 3 Picari. So Picari, what it does is like when normal or special summon, search an I-Pun card from your deck to your hand, essentially your spells and traps, but I only run spells, so there's no traps. And then second effect is that you can target one other at Ignister on the field. It has to say at Ignister, and it becomes level 4. So this is for Exceed plays. And this is one of the main reasons why I like this deck so much, because it focuses on other extra deck mechanics and all that, other than Pendulum. So obviously you run this because this is your searcher and it's one of your key combo pieces. Next, I run Doyon at Ignister. This one lets you return one at Ignister from your graveyard to your hand. And if it's used for link material, you can add one I-Pun card from your graveyard to your hand. So, and by the way, each effect can only be used once per turn, the same way as Picari as well. And of course, this is the essential combo piece as well, obviously, which is why you run 3. And another essential combo piece, Baruru. This one foolishes Foolish Burial at Ignister from your deck. And if this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can special summon the other at Ignister that you use as synchro material with this effect. So obviously combo extension. So you use this along with like a level 4, and then you tune, and then you bring that other one back. So obviously that will be very helpful. And this is a tuner, so level 7. And then for your searcher, it's Achichi. So with normal special summon, you can add one level 4 lower at Ignister from your deck to your hand. And if this card's in your graveyard and your at Ignister battles an opponent's monster, you can banish this card to destroy that attacking monster. And no, it's your attacking monster, by the way. And there's a reason for this, which will go over later. Each effect can only be used once per turn, by the way. And now those are just the essential combo pieces that you're going to need. They're not very as essential, but helps out your extra deck plays. I run 2 Hiyari and 2 Doishi. So both of them can be special summoned from your hand if you control it at Ignister. And Hikari is to support the ritual, and Doshi is to support the fusion. So for Hikari, you contribute one other at Ignister monster on the field and add one at Ignister ritual from your deck to your hand. And if it was a link monster, you can also add the ritual spell and make this level 4. Of course, the level 4 part does help, but most of the time I use that level 4 effect for Exceed Summon, to be honest, because it actually can go with combo, and the ritual spell can use materials from the graveyard as well. For Dorshi, you can return one link monster from your graveyard back to your extra deck, and then add one I Love Fusion from your deck, which will obviously give you your fusion summon. And that fusion card is also a super poly card too, except it's only on link monsters. Well, at least for your opponent's link monsters, but still a really good card. And now those are just the essential combo piece cards. For the newer cards, I run Gustari and Gachari. So I run Gustari for beat stick purposes and Gustari for defense purposes. So to summon these, this card can be special summoned if a link monster is destroyed by battle. But I usually don't use that for special summon. I use it for the beatdown. And the second part of the effect is that when your link monster that is destroyed is pointing to this, your opponent will take damage equal to its attack, which can be really devastating. This is a 3,000 attack point monster, so your opponent will have to get rid of this first. before getting rid of the Link monster, otherwise they're going to take massive damage. And also has the graveyard effect of banishing it to make both the battling monsters have 3,000 attack. This one, but you don't have to run this one. This one I do prefer you run, because you're going to run the ritual. This one can make your Ignister monster cannot be destroyed by card effects once per turn. And to special summon this card, you can negate one Link monster's effect on the field, one Link monster effect on the field, and special summon it. Which what you can do is, for one of your Link monsters, is once it activates its effect already, you could just use this effect and negate that effect right after and special summon this. So that's good as well. And then if this card's sent to the graveyard, you can make one of your monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects for the turn, or unaffected. So both of them have its own uses, but preferably you would actually want to use at least one copy of the Guitari. And now to the non-Ignister, and the only one is Balancer Lord. This one just gives you additional normal summon, and also has a when banished effect, you can special summon one Cyberse monster from your hand. There's level 4 or less, but I rarely use this card that much, but it does have some uses. And speaking of cards that support rituals, I run the 2 Water Leviathan. I run 2 because this card is actually really strong, and by effect wise, not by attack wise. All the Ignister Ace monsters are 23 attack, and normally like a level 7, other than a few exceptions. So when this card is summoned, you can return all monsters your opponent controls with 23 or less attack to their hand. So, and it doesn't target, so that's really good right there. And when this card battles an opponent's monster, you can half its attack during the damage step. And it's only once per turn, but this is really good to knock down some of your opponent's monsters, so, which is why I run this. And it also has another effect where you can return all Link monsters from your graveyard to decrease all your opponent's monsters attacked by 0. No, one of your opponent's monster. Yeah, change one of your opponent's monsters. My mistake. So it's one of your opponent's monsters attacked to 0. So this card can get over for a lot of stuff, which is why I run this. Sure, it could be a little bricky because it's ritual, but still a good card to use. And speaking of ritual, I run Paladin of Storm Dragon. This is mainly because I run Cyber Switch, which also can help you extend plays, so that's why you run this. And 2, now with these 2, which is why now I run these 2, because you have targets for this card. So that's it for the spells. I mean, monsters. And now for the spells, you run the main field spell. You have to run 3, because you need to get it as soon as possible. Ignister Island. So, its effect is, while you control no monsters in your main monster zone, you can special summon one at Ignister from your hand. And this could be used multiple times, by the way. As long as the special summon monster that you're going to be using this effect for again is not the same attribute. So it has to be different attributes every single time, but that's not too hard to do, considering that your main deck at Ignisters are all different attributes anyway. And then its second effect is that if it's at the graveyard, you can banish one at Ignister from your graveyard and set this card to the field spell zone face down. So if this card is destroyed for some reason, you could bring it back, but you really want to see this card as soon as possible, because this is very essential to get your key piece. And this deck might not be budget exactly because of this card, because this is like $20 each. This is like the most expensive card of the deck, by the way. But this is the most essential card that you're going to really need. And then for some draw power, eye contact. So if you control Ignister Island, you can return one Ignister Island that is in your hand to the bottom of the deck to draw 3. So you really only need to get 1 on the field. So if for some reason you got your second one, you could just recycle that one and then just draw 3 cards. But that card is very essential, so you want it to see as soon as possible. But if you have extra copies for some reason, you got this. And then I play Idol Reborn. This is basically your Monster Reborn for your Ignister deck. And also has an additional effect where you can banish it from your graveyard. Along with another... Oh, and 1 card from your hand. Yeah, banish it from the graveyard along with 1 card from your hand to return 1 of your banished eye cards to your hand. That effect you're not really going to use, but the special summon effect you are going to use, and it's a quick play too, so it does help. But maybe at most you're probably going to use it with Tie Strike. Basically, your battling Cyberse monster becomes the same attack as your opponent's monster. Becomes the same attack as the highest attack point monster. So, and then any destroyed monsters, the player takes any of the player's controlled destroyed monsters could be inflicted as damage from their attack. So, yeah, this card is maybe to get over a bunch of strong monsters, but this can be very cloggy as well. But I have sometimes used this card to create draws, just because I can, instead of losing. And just because you played these as well, I play the I Love Fusion and Eyes Ritual. So I Love Fusion, it's basically your polymerization. But if your opponent has a link monster on their field, you can super poly that. So this card has its uses. And then for Eyes Ritual, you obviously summon your main ritual monster with it by tributing up to levels to 7. And if you do have an Ignister on the field, you can use your graveyards as materials instead, or along with the one on the field if you wish. So you could just use graveyards as material for this, and which is what I mean when I use the tribute effect with this as level 4. I sometimes use this as Exceed, or use it as a tribute for Paladin of Stormdragon for that ritual. But both of them have its uses, and I want all 6 Ignisters in my deck, so that's why I use these as well. And speaking of which, I run the Signet Ritual because Cyber Switch, and this. And then because it's a Cyberse deck, you obviously run the Cyberse Mining. And because the field spell is essential, I run the Terraforming. So that's it for the main deck. Now for the extra deck, I run 2 Dark Knight at Ignister. This is your most essential link monster, essentially. And this is pretty much your first turn summon as well. So what it does is, when a monster is special summoned to where this card points to, by the way, this card requires 3 monsters with different names, which it's not hard to do with this card. So when a monster is summoned to where this card is pointed to, you can special summon as many at Ignister's monsters from your graveyard with their effects negated to where it points to. So you get 2 more monsters, and that's how you can get your plays, combo plays. Essentially, you could get like 2 more extra deck monsters with this. But this is mainly your first turn play. Sometimes you might use it for the second time, but usually you're not going to use it more than once, but the second one is sometimes. And for the fire at Ignister, it's Fire Phoenix at Ignister. So this card, when battling, you can, instead of battle damage, you can inflict effect damage equal to its attack. And when this card is destroyed by card effect, when this link summon card is destroyed by card effect, you can destroy one card from your opponent controls. So what you can do is that you can attack with this, use this effect to burn your opponent, and then because of this card, and this is why the second effect exists, you can banish this, destroy this, and then destroy one card your opponent controls. And if for any reason where like your opponent's monsters are stronger, you could always just attack with this, and if your opponent doesn't have enough life, then they're screwed. And you can still be alive. And you can also maybe use Tie Strike as well to double that damage essentially, because this one could inflict the effect damage, and using Tie Strike, they're both going to be the same attack, so they're both going to be destroyed, and your opponent's going to be pretty much taking double the damage right there. So you run that for that purpose. And during the next standby phase after this card was destroyed, because I almost forgot about that effect, you can special summon it. So it's a phoenix that resurrects, of course. This card is mainly used if to combo off with Dark Knight Agnister, because you're going to summon back 3, and sometimes, usually, if you cannot do your other 2 extra deck plays, you go for this. Another reason why. And then for your main Link 1, you run the Link Karibo. Requires 1 at Ignister Link monster, and it has a quick effect where you can tribute this card to negate a trap card, but your opponent barely uses trap nowadays. But it also has a second quick effect where you can tribute 1 at Ignister monster summoned from the extra deck to special summon this card back, so you can dodge some effects that destroy your monsters. But you mainly use this card for the fact that it's Link 1, because when you use, and this is only your first turn play really, so when you have Ignister Island, you're going to summon 1 at Ignister that is in your hand, special summon it, use it as Link material to summon this, and then you're going to use that Ignister Island again to summon another monster, and then you're going to do a normal summon, so then you could get your Link 3 Dark Knight at Ignister, and then you're gonna do another special summons to trigger your Dark Knight, and then you get 2 more monsters right there, and then there's a total of 3. So that's why Dark Knight is essential, and Link Karibo is essential as your turn 1 play, because you just need to get it right in your first turn. And that's why you have to run it. And now for the big boss himself. With the combined form of all at Ignisters, it's the Arrival Cybers at Ignister. So it requires 3 monsters with different attributes. Gains 1,000 attack for every material that you use with this card. So another reason why Dark Knight is essential. You summon your Dark Knight, you use that Ignister Island to special summon 2 an arrow to point to. You get 2 more monsters. That's a total of Link 6 right there. And this is your Link 6, so you get a total of 6. Just like that. So at most when you're going to use it with Dark Knight, you're going to get a total of 4,000 attack right there. Unaffected by card effects, so big boss protection. And once per turn, you can destroy 1 of your opponent's monsters. And if you do, well, destroy 1 monster on the field. It doesn't have to be your opponent. And then if you do, you special summon a token. So that token can give you, obviously, additional Link plays. But this is your main boss monster. You can basically beat down your opponent with it. Although it's not like Barrel Sword cannot run it over, but still, it's a pretty strong ace monster, I would say, unaffected by stuff too, so why not? And then for the rest of the Link monsters, I run Dark Fluid because Fusion, Synchro, Exceed, and Rituals are in this deck, so why not? And it's not hard to summon when you're having Dark Knight allowing you to give you more summons. And then for Link 4s, I run the Topologic Bomber Dragon because I don't have Access Code Talker because it's really expensive, so that's the only reason why I'm just running Topologic Bomber Dragon for now. I was thinking of Zero Boros, but Zero Boros banishes everything, and that's just going to leave you wide open, so I'm not really risking that. So I think Bomber's just a better option right now for me until I get a reprint of Access Code Talker, or if it's cheaper because it's just expensive. And just because I can, I run the Link Mail Archfiend. Pretty decent effect to decrease your opponent's attack, and also has some recent protection, so why not? Transcode Talker. This is one of those that you're going to summon as well quite often. And Cyber Switch, like I mentioned earlier. And now, this is going to be your main Link 2 option, because if you cannot use Agnister Island for some reason, or even if you can and you don't really have much monsters or any of that, this card can this is your Link 2 option. You can run the new Splash Mage, where it just special summons a monster from your graveyard, but this one can also add Ritual Spell while the other one can't. So it's just much better than Splash Mage. And then, because there's Fusion, Synchros, and Exceeds, I run the Earth Golem at Ignister. So this card requires one Cybers monster and one Link monster, which is why that Super Poly effect will work. So when this card battles an opponent's monster, this card has its attack double during the damage step. So beatdown purposes, obviously. And during the turn this card is summoned, you take no damage. So you got a card that can combo with Tie Strike already. And if this card destroys a monster by battle, you can special summon one Agnister from your graveyard, which I totally forgot about. For Dark Knight Agnister, it has the same effect, where when it's destroying a monster by battle, you can special summon one from your graveyard, and this one has the same thing. So this one is obviously for beatdown purposes, and you also got the Super Poly card, so. And next, for the Synchros, I run the Wind Pegasus Agnister. This card destroys as many spells and traps on the field as Agnister monsters that you control. So, obviously, this is kind of your Heavy Storm, or MST, how you interpret it. And if your monster you control is destroyed, or if card that you control is destroyed, you can banish this card from the field or graveyard to bounce back one of your opponent's cards to their deck. So, this is only there for that destroy spell and trap effect, but that graveyard effect can be decent as well. And because it's not hard to summon level 7 Synchros, Cyber's Quantum. And then for my last extra deck, I run the 2 Light Dragon Agnisters. So 2 level 4s, but its effect is, once per turn, you can detach 1 material, destroy as many monsters on the field equal to the Agnisters that you control. So basically the same thing as Wind Pegasus, but for monsters. But this one also has the additional effect. Another Cyber's monster you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon 1 Link monster from your graveyard. So this one's only restricted to Link monster. It has to be another monster, but the main part of the effect is obviously to destroy as many monsters as possible effect. So, which you guys quite summon a little often, which I do. So, which is why I run 2. Alright, for a quick combo segment, to do your multiple extra deck plays in one turn, you're going to need at least one. You have to have the Agnister Island and any two of these. Any 2 of these other than probably the combination of these 2, because these 2 are not going to work for the 3-card combo. So let's say we have these 2, right? To do your double extra deck play, you could use Ignister Island, use its effect to special summon one of them. You're going to summon Achichi. Achichi is going to search out your Doyon, use it for Link Summon, summon your Link Karibo, and then what you can do next is you can special summon Doyon with Ignister Island's effect, because you can no longer control a monster from your main monster zone. Doyon's effect. add this back to your hand, normal summon, link summon using these three, and then Dark Knight, and then you could now special summon this with Ignister Island because now that's a different attribute. Use its effect and send whatever you wish. I'm going to choose Picari. And then with Dark Knight, you can special summon like your Picari, your Doyon, and then you can tune these two for your whatever level 7 synchro you wish. Use Picari, special summon this back. This will activate, but that's not part of the combo I'm thinking about. Well, I'm not saying, but you can, and then go for your Exceed play. So, pretty much any of these combination of these two cards, of two of these, any combination of having these two along with Ignister Island will get you a double extra deck. At least a double extra deck play. But if for some reason you don't have Ignister Island, you do have Picari, you can still search this out. But you're just going to need to include an additional, you just have to include Yukari or Doshi for this, because for your double extra deck play, you do not have Ignister Island right away, but you still have a Picari. So that's it for the combo. Alright, so that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed my deck profile on my Ignisters. I know it took a while, it's like 2 months ago it's been released, but everyone had like pretty much the same deck profile and they all look pretty much the same, so I'm just like waiting till Eternity Code release, which got delayed in for like a month in North America, so that kind of sucked, but finally I have pretty much the cards that I want in the deck with the Link 6 in all its glory. The only card I'm really missing is the Access Code Talker, but that's just expensive right now. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I would say this is a kind of a budget deck.